Here's your First Warn weather forecast first. Sponsored by Anderson Collision Center. Visit driveanderson.com.
Well, thanks so much for staying up a little later with us here this evening. Our temperatures were a bit cooler today despite all the sunshine we had, making it into the low to mid 60s. 67 our high in Rockford, 65 in Freeport, 64 in Rochelle, and 68 degrees down in Sterling. It's cooling off quickly underneath that mostly clear sky. Few locations dropping off into those low 40s. 45 in Rochelle, 48 now in Rockford, and 46 degrees our temperature up in Janesville. High pressure situated over the Great Lakes will keep us nice and quiet. We do have a few higher level clouds moving in here this evening, which we'll see some cirrus clouds going into tomorrow, but a chilly start tomorrow morning. Temperatures dropping down in the low 40s. Couple of spots could even dip into the upper 30s, but we will warm nicely back into the mid 70s for tomorrow afternoon, and that warming trend continues into next week. Find out when that temperature could reach close to 90 coming up in the First Warn forecast a little later.
The biggest win in history for the Northern Illinois Huskies football team took place today. We take a look at the finish as it came down to the wire. Plus, a fight breaks out at a high school football game last night. What happened that required county sheriff officers and state police to arrive at the scene. And veterans get ready to take a trip to Washington, D.C. The excitement around this once-in-a-lifetime vacation.
Live from WTVO 17, this is Eyewitness News at 10.
Hello everyone, I'm Jess Lipson. Thanks for being here tonight. We start today's show with the biggest win in Northern Illinois football history. Drew joins me here quickly to talk about what went down in that finish.
It was incredible from the first snap to the last snap of that game. It went to the wire, and I don't even know where to start. I mean, they have so many playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. They got some of the fastest guys in football. Then you go to the defense. They make a ton of plays. They get the interception that led to this point where they were able to have this field goal here to win the game. And I think they had 2 interceptions. So, I mean, they just made all the right plays. Play calling was correct. And it was just all around like almost a perfect game for the team. The Irish weren't very lucky today. I mean, that's what I got to say for that.
Yeah, it was interesting because Northern Illinois started off hot, but I guess we'll find out how they finish that later on in the show.
Scott Leber was there, so he was in South Bend, so make sure you stay tuned to Sports Later because he has post-game interview for that.
Awesome. We'll see you then. All right. Now, Harlem High School took on the Auburn Knights in football yesterday, but the game never finished. That's because police were called to the game a little before 9:30 due to a fight that broke out. According to the Harlem principal, Jeremy Boyce, 2 teens began fighting during the football game. Other students then began crowding the area and began fighting as well. Boyce said the situation became volatile. That prompted the massive police response, including sheriff officers and state police. Officers were seen placing individuals in squad cars, but no word on any arrests. Boyce did go on to say that any report of a firearm being involved was false. The game was suspended and then continued today at 4:30. Only family of the players were allowed to attend. A longtime Rockford Italian restaurant, Capri, announces its Loves Park opening. Mark the calendars for September 28th. Capri will open their doors at 4 p.m. This will be just shy of 2 years since the kitchen fire that forced the restaurant to shut down. The fire happened back on October 27th, 2022, causing around $300,000 in damages. The owners announced then that they would be going to Loves Park after costs in Rockford far exceeded initial damages. The Rockford location opened up in 1963. The Loves Park location will be located at 6480 East Riverside. A veteran nonprofit organization, VetsRoll, is preparing to send next year's class of veterans to Washington, D.C. Blake Dietz stopped by a fundraiser in McChesney Park to learn more about why this trip is so special for so many.
Benny's Nest in McChesney Park was the place for food, music, and fundraising. A whole pig barbecue was held out in front of the bar and lounge to raise money for VetsRoll, a South Beloit nonprofit that takes veterans on a no-cost bus trip to see war memorials in the nation's capital. Army veteran Dick Watermullen took the trip last year.
It was fantastic, probably the best 4 days of my life. Seeing all the monuments and all those kinds of patriotic things was great. The food was excellent, but the really cool part was the camaraderie. The relationships you develop on this trip are just to die for. It was such an experience. Words can't put it into being.
The organization relies on fundraisers and donations to take hundreds of veterans on the trip. That mission inspired Janine Idstein to organize the fundraiser.
It's a passion of mine that has continued to grow over the years as I've gotten to know more and more veterans, especially the Vietnam vets. They have a special place in my heart. To be able to give them a check that is going to help send however many vets we can help, but get them to Washington for the trip of a lifetime, it just makes it all worth it. It's such a great feeling.
Watermolen says every veteran should get a chance to visit.
I think it's important to carry on the tradition of sending these folks, veterans, to Washington, D.C. Every year we lose more and more World War II vets. There are very few left. And those guys deserve their respect.
Reporting in McChesney Park for your home team, I'm Blake Dietz.
The longest-running BMX show in the Midwest continues for their 25th year. The Rockford Old School and Vintage Show brings out all of the BMX fans to Rockford. The event started up in 2000 and has gone on every year since then. It offers a chance for BMX fans to come together and enjoy the sport. There's races, vendors, and more. Those who attended prepare months in advance.
Well, we look forward to this every year. So, I mean, I've been planning and anticipating this since last year, trying to gather up different stuff, trying to figure out what we're going to, have available, what we're going to get rid of, what we're going to try to sell or swap or trade.
This year's event coincides with the BMX state finals as well. There were 8 different categories to reach the podium. The friendly competition between Rockton and Roscoe on who has the better rock snake has come to an end. It was started up by the Roscoe Gardening Club to bring people together in the community. The 2 snakes were built from community members designing a rock and then adding to it. Rockton named theirs Rocky. Roscoe's was called Roscoe. With 378 rocks added to Rocky, he was declared the winner. Roscoe had 324 rocks added, came in second out of 2. The Gardening Club is looking forward to the contest's return next summer. Flying a kite can be fun or it can be competitive. After the break, we take a look at the kite demos and competitions in Belvedere that went on today.
And our temperatures were nearly 10 degrees below average here this afternoon, despite some of the sunshine. But with the sun, we are going to continue to warm. Find out just how warm it gets and when we could see our next chance for rain. All coming up in the First Warn forecast a little later.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Jess Lipson, Drew Collins, and meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
Kite flyers were out today for the Up in the Air event. The fun-filled day of flying a kite took place at Prairie Field Sports Park in Belvedere. It included games, dancing, and kite competitions. There was even demos and tutorials on different ways to fly a kite. It wasn't just kite flying though, with vendors, food trucks, and other activities going on. Those in charge say it made for a great family day.
It's a beautiful day, so no complaints there. It's nice, windy. It seems like no matter what age people are bringing their kids out, they're having fun. So it's nice to see the whole community come together. We have some free attractions and crafts, so even if you're not wanting to buy some of the additional stuff, there's fun for all.
The Belvedere Park District hosted the event, which had hundreds show up. Local artists took over Sinisippi Park for Sinisippi Jams V3. The live music went on all evening as the park had 4 different performances. The JB Project Group was the first to step into the music shell. Joining them was Paul Bronson, the Yes Club, and Jody Beach. Organizers are excited to cap off the music in the park for the summer with these acts.
Sinisippi Jams, we've had 2 earlier this year, and really the focus is local music and exposing local musicians to this wonderful stage here at Sinisippi Park.
Music in the Park is part of a few other events that go on every summer in Sinisippi Park, and organizers will be bringing it back next summer. Sunny skies covered the state line, but it was a bit chillier as temps stayed in the 60s. When we return, Candace will break down those temps for the rest of the weekend and the week ahead.
Now, your First Warn weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, we had lots of sunshine out there throughout most of this afternoon, but it was a little on the cooler side. Those clear skies, they continue as we go through this evening. We take a live look with our Mercial SkyTrack camera tonight up in Beloit. There were just a few clouds kind of working in on the horizon here as the sun was setting. Some higher level clouds that'll carry over into tomorrow morning, but again, another sun-filled afternoon. Now, temperature today made it to 67 in Rockford, 65 in Freeport, 64 in Rochelle, and 66 degrees up in Janesville. That's 67, 3 degrees above our record cold high temperature for today, which was 64 set back in 1949. So no record cold out there today, but it was a chilly one and kind of puts into perspective just how unseasonably cold this afternoon has been. The good news, our temperatures are going to warm over the next several days. In fact, that summertime heat expected to return. We're at 48 now in Rockford, 46 in Freeport, same thing in Janesville, 44 in Rochelle, still at 50 in DeKalb. Those overnight temperatures will drop down into the low 40s. Some outlying areas may fall into the upper 30s, but I don't anticipate that to be widespread here as we go through the night tonight. Temperatures tonight, though, down around 43 underneath a clear sky and calm wind. The coldest we've been since the beginning of May. So it's been some time since we've had this chill kind of setting in. So a forecast low tonight of 43 degrees underneath a mostly clear sky. Chilly as the winds will stay light from the northwest. The wind will begin to shift around to the west and then eventually to the southwest tomorrow afternoon. That will bring us back into the mid 70s. I cannot tell you how much tomorrow is going to be a great day to get out and enjoy. You've got just a few clouds out there for the afternoon. Still very comfortable and a little less in the way of the wind from what we had out there today. Now, our weather watcher Terry down in Genoa checking in at 45 degrees, a calm wind, and dew point temperature now sits at 43. We've got high pressure anchored over the Great Lakes here this evening, and that high pressure system stays in control throughout the entire week. So futurecast, there's not a lot to talk about. There's those higher level clouds that begin to move in. Notice we maintain that sunshine here as we go through the next several days. Now, there is a warm front that works through parts of the Midwest, extending down through Iowa early Tuesday, and that's really where we start to see things warm. It, however, does not bring us any rainfall because that high pressure system acting as a blocking mechanism and keeps a lot of that deep moisture blocked down to the south. So without that and really any sort of storm system coming through, we're not going to see much rainfall. In fact, we stay pretty dry. Now, there is this area of low pressure, this remnant moisture that comes in from what could turn into our next tropical system out in the western portions of the Gulf of Mexico, but notice as it moves through, it starts to fall apart. So we're really not looking at an opportunity here for much rainfall, which really kind of will enhance, unfortunately, that short-term precipitation deficit, especially as our temperatures warm. But from 75 on Sunday to 82 on Monday, and then there you go. We've got the upper 80s by the middle to end of the week. Just our overnight low temperatures will be very comfortable, though, as we stay in the 50s.
Thanks, Candace. Drew's in next with sports. He'll be in the studio while Scott was in South Bend. NIU made record-breaking history today against Notre Dame, and you're going to want to stick around to find out what happened. We also have some Saturday Nick 10 football coverage, including a double overtime nail-biter.
Now sports with Drew Collins.
In NIU's 123-year football history, the Huskies have never played Notre Dame until today. They took on the 5th-ranked Fighting Irish in South Bend. Home opener, opening drive for the Irish. Lucky or not, Riley Leonard gets in on the designed QB run. Irish take the lead 7-0. NIU looking to answer. Ethan Hampton throws a dot to Ontario Brown, who does the rest. You can't teach speed, and he has more of it than anybody else in college football. He takes it to the crib for an 83-yard touchdown to tie it up. NIU takes the lead after back-to-back field goals following the touchdown. They now lead 13-7 until Jeremiah Love hurdles his way to the end zone. Irish take back the lead 14-13 in the third. Look at this hurdle. That's crazy. After Riley Leonard would throw his second pick of the day, NIU would drive down to the Irish territory. 2 minutes left, 4th and 2. NIU game decider, and Ethan Hampton takes it himself and picks up the first. That leads to this, a chance to get the biggest win in program history from 35 yards out, and Woodle drains it Notre Dame would have a chance from over 60, but the Huskies would block it for the win. The Irish weren't so lucky today. This is the biggest win in NIU program history. It might be the biggest upset in all of football this year. Huskies win 16-14. Scott Leber was at today's game. He has more from South Bend.
Well, this place is known as the Cathedral of College Football, also the house that Rockne built. It's Notre Dame Stadium, and it's one of the biggest stages in all of college football. And the NIU Huskies came in here Saturday, and they didn't flinch for a second. Not even when they fell behind early 7-0, and not even when they started their first drive on their own 2-yard line. Instead, they connected on an 83-yard touchdown pass to Ontario Brown, and from that point on, the Huskies believed, and they showed the rest of the nation exactly what they're made of.
No, certainly proud of our players. Our theme this week was we didn't need luck. That was our theme. I didn't think we needed luck. We just need to play our best. And it wasn't the cleanest for us, but we played hard for 4 quarters. We stayed together. They worked together. They believed. And they made enough plays to win a game.
You know, it's my first time experiencing it as a starter. We've had some Power 5 wins before, but, you know, never against a ranked team, and much less a top 5 team. So, just like Coach Ham said, huge for the program.
This is what I do, right? Like, I just kick footballs. That's all I do. So I go out there, I execute 35-yarder. That's well within the range. You know, that's makeable. That's what we do. So, like, I got to take a second to process it. It'll be a few hours before it's like, wow, that's what we just did. But just unreal.
This win, you know, this team win, it means a lot. It's probably the most special one. You know, number 5 team in the country. I didn't play the Michigan game, but this one's really special.
This was the Huskies' first appearance ever on national TV, and boy, did they make the most of it. And if Notre Dame was number 5 in the country coming into this game, what does this mean for the Huskies next week? Will they jump into the top 25, and might they even have a playoff shot down the road? Well, it's a little premature to talk about that, but if they take care of business in the MAC, everybody's going to look back at this game as saying, yeah, this is proof the Huskies belong with the big boys. In South Bend, I'm Scott Leber.
Saturday Nick 10 action. We're getting started in Boylan. They host the E-Rabs. The Titans have a rotation of guys at quarterback, but this is Dominic Cacciatore. He finds double 1 for 6. That's Eli Davis for the easy tutty. Boylan strikes first. Play action for Dominic. The camera bites, resets, and finds Anthony Lorenzo in the end zone. Boylan jumps out to a 14-point lead, and they never looked back. Boylan holds strong 25-6 over East. And buckle up your seatbelts. This is probably the most competitive game of the year for the Nick 10 so far. Belvedere North hosts the Freeport Pretzels. Third quarter action. Peyton Woker slings to Davion Douglas. Freeport trails 14-7 in the third. Now Nicholas Tapia calls his own number for this one, and the number 7 gets 7 to extend the lead. Blue Thunder leads 21-7 to start the fourth. Now remember that. But the Pretzels answer quick. Goal line push. Ben Summers gets in. Freeport now trails 21-15 after a 2-point conversion. B North turns it over, and here it is, the possible walk-off touchdown to secure the win. Cameron Werner gets in, and the Pretzels could pull off the comeback and upset. Now an extra point for the win, but it's blocked, and we head to overtime. Blue Thunder gets the ball first, and look at 7 go. He plows into the end zone, 27-21. The Pretzels looking to answer. Cameron Werner breaking tackles left and right and dives into the end zone, 27-27. Let's head to double overtime. But now in double overtime, the Blue Thunder would plow in for more points. The Pretzels get one last try here to stay alive, and that B North defense was all over it. Belvedere North hangs on in double overtime, 35-27. The Cubs dropped another game to the Yankees. 2-0 is your final. Last game of that series will be tomorrow afternoon. And that's sports. We'll be right back.
Quiet conditions on the First Warn Interactive Radar brought to us by Rockford Glass and more. Temperatures tonight will drop into the low 40s, a chilly one, but plenty of sunshine tomorrow. Highs back up near 75, then warming through the 80s next week.
That's our show. Have a great night.